Welcome to Wrestling is Hard, where every side is the dark side of the ring. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at hard4wrestling. Email questions and complaints at wrestlingishard@gmail.com. I'm Jim. Brandon, hello. How are you?
Good evening. I'm all right. I've been better. I'm running hot right now.
A little stressed. I can tell. You're a little stressed.
The blood pressure is high. We were talking about it before the show. Texted you, Jim, about 4:30. Said, hey, I have some free time. About 4:33. Turns out I did not have some free time. Had to get an Uber. Work stuff. Work crap. Everybody thinks that they're everybody thinks everybody else is dumb. This is my new thing that's driving me nuts. Is that everybody talks to everyone else like they think they're dumb. And sometimes you got to show up and show that you aren't dumb. So I did that for about 2.5 hours. So the engine is running. Not even an office. It was some bullshit at a bar in the city. They call it an offsite, a QBR, quarterly business review, that they thought that they were going to handle. And then some people don't know what's going on. So they phoned a friend. So I show up wearing haven't shaved, wearing what I'm wearing now, and a bunch of guys dressed up. And hey, what happened with this? What did you look into that? Did you do this? Like I'm an idiot. It's like, wow, actually,
no, I didn't do the obvious.
I considered all of the things that you've said, and that's how we landed. We're circling back to exactly why you questioned me in the first place. Does it make sense now how I did what I did? Yes, it does. All these fucking people getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. I just wanted to kick somebody's fucking head through the wall. So now we're getting started.
Nice. Fucking let it out, brother. I like being the boss because when people say like, well, why do we do this? I say, because I fucking said so. That's why. It doesn't matter because I said so. Why is this over here? Because I want it there.
You Steve Austin them. You Steven Austin them.
That's it. You'll see why. I'll explain later. But for now, it's because I said so. Then later it's like, oh, actually it is easier that way. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, someday I'll get to that point.
That's right. I'm bullying 4 other people. I'm fucking such a big boss. Just yelling at everybody.
In the interim, it's just really like, can we stop talking to everybody else? Because especially when if the stuff isn't going well, everybody looks at the person next to them like, this. It must be because these people before I was here are stupid as shit.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of blaming other people.
I don't know where this came from. I try not to look at other people. Like, I guess I do it too. I'm guilty of it. But it's like everybody walks around like everybody they see is fucking dumb.
An idiot.
So,
Chris, how you doing? You feeling dumb?
No, I'm always feeling dumb.
All right. How are you?
I'm good.
Stretched, feeling good?
Yeah.
Good?
You know, yeah, look
Closet
good,
doors
feeling
open.
good. Closet doors open.
What's going on there? There we go. You can see the G.I. Joes now.
G.I. Joes are back. Super 7 G.I. Joes. Yeah, I got nothing. Made a purchase this week.
Well, you got something. What's up?
Yeah. I bought
he's
myself.
Breaking it out. Here we go. You got to go on YouTube and check it out. Wrestling is Hard production. Oh, he's going to start skating again.
A new deck.
Fuck yeah.
He was a skater boy. We said, see you later, boy.
That's right. That's a good one.
He wasn't good enough for her.
Explain to our listeners what you got going on here.
Is that a John Huber?
It's a Huber. It's the company is. It's a John Huber. The company is. I bought it solely based on the name of the company. So new skate shop opened in town. I'll go back all the way back. So first of all, I bought it because the company name is Terror of Planet X. So that was.
I'm on board.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So I guess like last month or so, Tony Hawk doc on HBO.
Yeah, I put it on at work. I didn't get to catch much.
It's a good doc. You know, I mean, it's it just tells Tony Hawk fucking warts and all. You know, all this shitty behavior later in life and all that other crap. But and I was thinking to myself, why did you stop? And I never really truly got into it enough. Like I really wanted to. When I was a kid,
get into skating.
Skating, yeah. When I was a kid, there was nobody to skate with.
And we didn't have skater friends.
There was a couple, but it was right at that like late 80s peak before it crashed for the first time, or the second time, I should say.
You remember that little ass skateboard I used to use?
Yeah, the little tiny one.
It looked like a fucking
little penny board.
Yeah, because then they started selling them like legit versions of those not too long ago.
Mine was
So
definitely from like Kitty City or Toys R Us or something.
I'm watching the doc, and I'm thinking to myself, like, you never did this. And then when we were kids, or when I was younger, you know, as Jimmy will rightfully attest, nobody was driving us to a skate shop or taking us to go skate. That would have taken up precious time of sitting on the couch and watching TV.
No, our parents did not support any habits or any hobbies.
Any hobbies at all.
It caused us to have some habits. Our parents not supporting hobbies.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then when I got older and I got in with the guys, like, you know, there's a skate shop in Philly, Nocturnal. And I knew a bunch of those guys, and all I had to do was say, you know, hey, I never really got to really get into this. And, you know, because it's kind of a protected scene.
Yeah.
But those guys, I was friends with all those guys. Those guys would have let me go skating with them. They wouldn't have told me, like, they would have showed me shit. They would have let me hang out and fuck around. But I just, at that point, you know, drugs were cool. So I never really truly got into it.
Real quick, I think it's a little different now. I think the newer generation is more like accepting of new people.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
some of the older guys. Of course, when you get older in anything, you're like, I was there before you were doing any of that, man. And yeah, that's everybody. That's gatekeeping. But I think like younger generation is much more like accepting of different people trying out something new.
Well, you know, I'll tell you,
you're never too old. I've heard that a bunch of times. You're never too old to start.
From firsthand experience, you know, like training jiu-jitsu, I'm at the point in which, like, I see new people and I'm happy that there's new people, and I'm happy when new people, guys that started well after me, become a serious pain in the ass when we're training and I can't do shit.
Yeah.
That makes me happy at some point, and most of my life. And sometimes you have to stop yourself. And you get a little, like, internally, you get a little, and you have to fucking stop yourself and go, like, dude, wrong. That's wrong. You know, so I'm not going to lie and say I'm perfect, but, you know, I don't still do that once in a while. But it's the same thing with
skating. I can concur, you are not perfect.
And it's funny because I was wondering, I'm like, so there was a new skate shop open, so I checked it out and I was talking to the guy. And then I found out through the guy that, like, apparently my town in South Jersey is loaded with fucking Philly dudes.
Yeah.
And they set up a skate park down the street from my house, across the street from the brewery. The one guy that owns the skate shop is a bartender at the brewery by my house.
The one right at the end of your block.
At the end of my block, yeah. And
do you want to say what the brewery is? Or
yeah, Tonewood Brewing, yeah.
Tonewood.
And then and
just also our listeners want to stalk you out. Don't know where to find
also down the street from my house, we have a VFW hall, and there's a brand new fucking parking lot and no cars in there. So I've been
last time I was there, they just paved it. I was like,
yeah, it's fucking beautiful. So I'll go down there like in the mornings, sometimes like 9, 10 in the morning. I go out and I kick all the rocks and shit, and I just, you know, tool around, try to ollie, which I still can't do, but you know, you get better. And no, I'm really happy. I just haven't had a chance to use it enough, you know. So hopefully I'll get out there tomorrow. Looks like a good day. I'll go out tomorrow.
Nice.
But you know, it's
that time of the year.
Yeah.
I got my helmet out, my scoop.
Oh, nice.
Look at that thing. Look at that fucking thing. It's real shiny. Yeah, I took it out for the first time this season, 2 days ago. And you know, it's always this weird thing where it's like, oh, I don't want to take it out. I want to check the tire, like, and check the tire level. Do this. And then as soon as I got on, I was like, this is the best. Riding scooters or riding a bike or anything, whatever your hobby is, once that winter breaks and it's like legit officially spring, you get out there, you're like, fuck yeah, man. What am I doing? Why was I holding out and doing this again? Fuck that cold bullshit though. I bought cold gear and everything to ride it all year long. Ugh. Hell no. Too cold.
I will do this. Hold on. I did promise people that when I showed him I got a new board, I promised him that I will drop into my pool while the pool is filled with water.
Oh fuck yeah, I want that videotape.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're gonna videotape. 100% pure adrenaline. There's nothing in the world like it.
You do have insurance, right?
What? Yeah, I have health insurance, but I'm dropping in while the pool has water in it. No, it doesn't. Although I don't know. We have to drain the pool.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, definitely at the end of next year, because I got to paint it.
Yeah.
And
how long do you have to paint a pool?
every 3-4 years.
Okay.
I bought an automatic pool cleaner last year, and I
remember.
Yeah, Robit. And I was noticing bits of paint in it, and I got all nervous because I just assumed, because I have a tendency of doing the wrong shit quite often without jumping into things and not doing the research.
We were just talking before we started recording about trial and error.
Yeah, and I was like,
how you get 50% through something and you finally figured out how to do it, and you're an expert suddenly.
Right. And I said, I was like, fuck, man, I bought the wrong pool cleaner. It's ripping the paint off the pool. And then I thought, because of the house we bought, I thought, fuck, that asshole that we bought the house of put the wrong paint in the pool because the paint's coming off the pool. And then I Googled it, and it was 4 years in a concrete pool. And you got to paint it. So we're going to have to drain it this year and next. And it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter what you do. There's always one, like this year, I'm going to open my pool myself. That'll save me $300. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to have to fucking paint my pool and drain it. So that'll cost me X. There's always one massive spend. It never fails.
Well, that's always the thing. It's like, I could, like with my bike, I'm going to have to, once I hit 500 miles, actually I'm under 500 miles still. Rode it for a whole summer. Well, the whole fall. Still under 500 miles. That's the best thing about a scooter. It just, I don't go anywhere on it. I could ride it forever, but I got to get an oil change at 500. And it's like, do I do it myself? I'm not fucking doing it myself. I'm paying the service charge. I'm getting somebody else to do it.
Do it yourself.
I'm not doing it. Fucking in the middle of
do it
in Philadelphia.
Nah, you know what? Changing your oil is very easy.
Getting rid of it though.
Lugging the oil someplace to get rid of it is why bother? Just take it to somebody. Because I could do it on my truck. I don't even need to lift it up. Like slide right under that thing.
Today I had to get a plug in my tire because Chris and I are going out of town. We'll talk about that eventually. I had to get a plug in my tire. I had a screw, like this tiny little screw, and I had this slow leak that I would have to refill it every 5 days. So like I watched the guy do it. I take it to Diaz. You know Diaz tires underneath the L? Yeah.
Right on Girard?
No, it's Front Street and Norse. Right under the L.
Yeah, it's yes, I know
right on the corner.
Yeah.
So I go there and I pull up, and the guy's just, and I'm like, tell him what's going on, and he checks my tire. He's like, a Puerto Rican guy, like English second language by far. He's like, tire full. How often you fill? I'm like, I just filled it like 2 days ago. I fill to PSI. I fill to 50. He's like, okay. Get in, turn wheel. I turn the wheel. He sprays it down. And then you see it bubbling. It's a soapy liquid bubbling. Yeah. And I see him do it. And it's basically like a fucking, it looks like a screwdriver, but it's got a drill bit on the end. And he puts that in, and then he plugs in this piece of rubber, seals it, and he just charged me $10. $10.
Yeah.
$10 fucking dollars. It was 3 minutes it took him to do this thing. $10. I gave him 15. He's like, "Oh, thank you very much," and I left. I'm like, I could probably do that myself. It cost me $10 fucking dollars, and I didn't have to do anything. It would also cost me, it would take 30 minutes for me to do it. I'd be cursing the whole time, especially that first time, and also I'd be doing it on Ann Street and not in a garage. Not that you're doing a garage there. You're doing it like on a parking area, but fuck that. Convenience charge. Brandon, thoughts?
I'm in a trend where I'm going the other way, where I spend too much of my money off of just convenience, and now I'm just like nose down. I'm just gonna start learning how to do everything. I was watching YouTube videos earlier today about how to hang a chandelier. I don't have a chandelier. I'm not planning on buying a chandelier, but just everything that seems intimidating to me or confusing, I've just been a switch is flipped. I'm like, I hate that someone knows how to do this, and now I'm not the person who knows how to do this.
Right.
I'm just gonna figure out how to do it because they're not any smarter than me. $10, probably worth it.
$10.
I think I'm on your side on this, but
15,
in general, I'm just like,
I gave him a 50% tip.
Some guy with dirty fingernails shows up and he's fixing my air conditioning unit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I have a feeling like in under 3 hours I could know everything this guy knows about his job.
My wife fixed our washer years ago. She looked it up on YouTube. Then I had to wash it or fix it. It took her like fucking 20 minutes to fix it. It was replacing a switch. We would have had to pay somebody probably $200 to come out and check it out.
And a piece of that is it's more than just the money. It's the embarrassment, like potential embarrassment and horror of the person that knows what they're doing just taking you for a ride because they know that you don't know a fucking thing.
Dude,
$10, it doesn't matter.
$10.
I know.
He could have charged me 20.
In general, just having to talk to someone and having them be like, well, you're just gonna have to fucking spend this. I don't ever want to be that person that's like, well, I don't know any better. So, but I got you.
Right. If I had gone to like Pep Boys, they would have charged me $40. And it probably would have taken an hour. This was, I'm telling you, legit under 5 minutes. The dude was fucking done. And he's like, all right, see you later. I'm like, thanks, brother. I left. And I crashed my car.
One less problem to think. Yeah.
Okay. Any final thoughts before we move on to wrestling?
No.
Okay, let's move on to wrestling. You may have heard of this. We talked about it for 2 weeks. We went and saw AEW live at the Leah Corner Center in Philadelphia. It was definitely a show. Brandon, thoughts?
On the show in general?
Everything. I don't fucking care. It's our show. We can talk about what we want.
This was our second time going. It was my third time going.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd was definitely the largest that it's been. I think that's a good thing. I was happy to see it like packed.
Good for AEW, sure.
The first for wrestling in general, and for me, I don't want to go to something where I'm sitting there and there's every 5 seats there's another person. Right. Just it's more fun if people are into it. The quality of the crowd, I would say, has improved. We got into a little bit of a spat. I wouldn't call it a fight. We managed the situation, but it's worth talking about at some point. Other than that, it was kind of a dump of a dynamite.
Agreed. Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Brandon on this one. Like, when we go to these things, it's more about the hang than it is about the card. I mean, the cards, you always want it to be a good card. That was not a good card when the biggest match on the card was Dax versus Cash, or whatever their names are.
Cash and
Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. Yeah, so it was that.
And Hikaru Shida and Serenity. They were like the 2 big ones.
Yeah, and honestly, because of what Brandon said about the crowd, I mean, not that sucked. That sucked all the energy out of that match. But when the crowd ruins the hang,
I will say we overcame that, though.
Yeah, we did, but still, well, here's the problem. We overcame that, but the card still sucked afterwards. So what's the point of overcoming it? That we went through dealing with a, obnoxious, trolly racist, and and then who didn't give a shit about anybody or anything that anyone said till he got yelled at. Then he shut up for the rest of the night. Then, it's just when the card's kind of, it's not gonna fucking. You can't recover, really. You know what I mean? It's just like, and especially with AEW. I think this has happened both times we've gone to AEW. It's like, 1, 2, 3, ding, ding, ding. Okay, let's get out. And then some shit happens afterwards. It's like, I don't even fucking care.
What happened. I think,
and I'm not even.
Came out. They did some kind of promo or something. I was just like, oh.
I don't know. And they were hugging some girl in the ring, and
I was fucking 11 o'clock. I need to get the fuck out of here. I'm a grown ass man.
Bunch of ECW chants from people who never went to, who believe in the myth of ECW, that it was so good. It was
pretty bad.
And let me tell you something, though. I mean, that's to my point of it's about the hang, because if you were going to ECW back in the day, you're going to have a good time, but the wrestling wasn't good. It was a fucking great night, but the wrestling was I mean, I slapped Road Warrior Hawk as hard as I could in the back.
Oh,
and he
didn't
even know. And I hurt my hand because he was
so many fucking painkillers, probably.
Yeah, he had
booze,
fucking roids shooting out of his ears. But I mean, it's so it's about the hang. But when something fucks with the hang, it kind of just puts the best way to it didn't ruin my night, but it definitely was a bummer, because somebody else's behavior affected me, and I can't stand that shit. So.
It's the weird thing about going to professional wrestling, it's like I've been to enough shows over the years to say that a lot of times the crowd stinks at a lot of shows. Lots.
More than it doesn't.
Yeah, it's always stinks. And it's whether you're going to put up with it or not. You know what I mean? Like, we just so happened to be stuck right in front of the guy that was the obnoxious guy in our section. I mean,
Yeah.
it was, if I hadn't antagonized the guy, he would have kept going for the rest of the night. We did a little song and dance, and then after it was all over, he shut up and he left after fucking Dynamite anyway. You know what I mean?
And pulled a no fucking told on. Maybe next time nobody will tell on me. You're gone, bro.
See ya. Goodbye.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Well,
right, go ahead, Brandon.
How this happened, it's circumstances that had that guy just been that guy, I'm not sure that any of us would have said anything.
Right.
But he then led a personal conversation between us. The guy like dropped his phone underneath my seat and then addressed us and was like, "Can you get my phone?" And that was enough for us to be like, well, I think Jimmy was just like, "Fuck you, dude.
Fuck you, dude.
Stink and I'm not helping you." And that then from there it was a little bit of
you're an
fireworks.
asshole.
So I think we probably wouldn't have just like ignored it until it was just like, well, here's an opportunity that now this guy's speaking to me directly. And I was like, well, you're not going to get it. Yeah, that was a
fucking chance.
It
the
pushed
door
it from
was
49
open,
to 51%.
My foot inside it.
Can I interrupt you here?
Yeah,
of course.
So that exact chain of events where person A is acting like an asshole, and then person A interacts with Jimmy, and then that's Jimmy's chance to tell that dude what an asshole he is. This is not even fucking close to the first time in any situation you can imagine. It's not even close to the first time that this has happened. I mean, this has been Jimmy's MO for as long as I can fucking remember, where I'll put up with your shit until you address me personally. Then you're done.
I'll tell you to your face.
I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to tell.
You're a piece of shit. Do something about it.
Okay. I'm going to tell this story.
Go right ahead. Nothing that's going to get me in jail, please. Thank you.
Oh, no. I mean, we were at Lollapalooza at the what is this what is that place called now? Whatever the place on the Delaware River in Camden. That's a half in out
Festival
amphitheater no, over in Camden side.
Oh, BBT.
BBT. Okay. So we go to Lollapalooza.
Tweeter Center.
It was the Tweeter, I think, then. Sony Blockbuster Entertainment Center. So anyway, we go.
Was it Play Again Sports Center at some point?
I don't know. But anyway, so we go, and the headliners, the reason why we go is Tool. That's the headliner. And Korn.
Nice.
Oh, I was really hyped for Korn.
Korn
Tool.
So we end up going, and we may or may not had sucked down so many balloons in the parking lot.
Oh, we imbibed.
And then may or may not have gotten fucking barbecued on the fucking lawn. I mean, like out of our fucking minds, blasted barbecued.
Just hold on before we talk about this, Chris. I don't know if this is the same story, but I'm gonna tie them together and pretend it is. So we were smoking outside the show.
If it wasn't a Tool/Korn show, I wouldn't ask this question. But just to confirm, on what?
Oh, it was marijuana.
Marijuana.
The green stuff, not the methamphetamine.
Yeah. So could be anything in that.
I was smoking Monster Energy drinks.
Crack and DMT.
Yeah. So I was outside. Some guy, friend of ours, knew a guy. I don't know, Chris. This might not be the same story, but I'm gonna tie them together anyway. Knew a guy. I was offered a bowl. Meanwhile, I'd already ingested way too many things, various different things. And I put the bowl to my mouth, went to light it, and I coughed as soon as it went to my lips, and the fucking bud went flying in the air like a piece of popcorn and took off. And I was just like, we were on the ground looking. Well, I wasn't on the ground looking. I was laughing too hard. You guys were on the ground scrounging in the ground looking for the bud. I was laughing so fucking hard. I was like, I'll pay you for it if you want.
So we're sitting on the lawn and fucking, I mean, I can't remember being that high, like that fucking stoned ever again in my entire life. And we're like kind of just, and who comes on but Snoop?
Yes.
Now at the time, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just gonna real quick. When the first time I was exposed to Snoop was on the Deep Cover soundtrack with Dre. Okay, and everybody was hype about him. And then he was on the Chronic, and everybody hype about him. And then he came out with his own album, solo album, and in mine and a lot of people in my age's opinion,
well,
because it wasn't what we expected.
People might listen to this and be like, "These guys are fucking assholes for saying."
Right.
Listen, I think it was at our age group who grew up with hip hop through the mid to late '80s into the early '90s. That, Chris was a big fan of Biggie Smalls. I wasn't. But that those years, 94, 95, I think a lot of people that grew up with the younger stuff, kind of people that were open to different kinds of music, kind of moved away from it. And you were like, this is kind of cheesy now. You can tell it was commercial at that point.
Yes.
It was definitely created for white people to listen to at that point. You were like, okay, now it's not so cool anymore.
So, well, also, and it was also, you went from the Chronic album, which is one of my favorite albums of all time. And then Snoop had come along with something where he had introduced all the funk into his music. And I wasn't a fan of it. It's not knocking him in any way. He's in the pantheon of awesomeness when it comes to music and it comes to just him as a person. Okay, fine. Let's get past that. But we weren't into Snoop. And this now is at the time of Murder Was the Case. Completely separated from this, right? And there was a lot of white kids, all white kids, with bandanas and stuff, and it was this whole scene that I had never been a part of. And I mean, you got to remember, also at this point, I'm working at the goddamn Trocadero in Philadelphia and at the Electric Factory, so I go to every goddamn concert there is to go to, and I've never seen these people. So anyway, a group of them. Group of kids are walking across the lawn and they're like looking at people and they're saying stuff. And it's not during Snoop, it's during another band. And a guy's singing the chorus of a song that he probably doesn't know, but the chorus is very repetitive. And he's singing it and he's pointing at people he's walking past, like aggressively. And he comes up and he asks Jim for a light. Hey man, you got a light? And Jim flies out of off his ass. So we're sitting on the lawn, Jim flies to his feet and he's like, "What the fuck you say? What the fuck? What? He's in the guy's face. The guy went from torturing people to shitting his pants, and I'm fucking much larger than I am right now. I'm like a top on the lawn. I can't get up to stop Jim. I'm laughing my ass off. And I'm finally like, dude, he's just asking you for a light. He's just asking you for a light. But it was one of those situations where I was laughing so hard I couldn't fucking function because I'm like, whatever happens. I don't give a shit. We have to go home. We got to go home.
We're watching this. And all three of us, it was three of us at the time. I think it was three of us.
Yeah.
Sitting there and we're watching. And we're like, this fucking guy. And the meter is tick, 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 tick. And it hit the point where it was like, and it was either I was going to walk away and I was going to calm down, or there was going to be an interaction, whether I caused it or he was going to cause it. Usually they cause it.
So I've seen that happen quite a few times on different levels. That's just one of them.
Brandon, thoughts?
It's a wrestling podcast. You're muted.
That's hilarious. I was just thinking, I think we're going to do 2.5 hours anyway without any of the.
We're at 45 already. What are you talking about?
Okay.
We're 20.
Yeah, we got to blow through some wrestling.
I was like, and I enjoy every second of it, and this is why I wanted to do this podcast in the first place, is to fish these stories out. So I'd rather do this than anything else. But I was laughing at Chris telling a story about that time in Snoop Dogg's life. Get to a story about to get to a story about the wrestling. I'm like, this is really what we should be doing. But at that event, I was like, I've been here in many situations in my life where two other people start to fight, or someone says something, it deserves a fight. My friends engage in the fight. And then I always insert myself at the keystone spot of someone that eventually has to cause a physical altercation. I'm like, I've been here before. I don't want to be this guy again that grabs this guy by the shirt. And now it's a different level of thing. So I left after security went and didn't kick the guy out, and they just said, "Hey, you need to calm down." I just left the row that we were in and went back up to security. I didn't know that Jimmy was there. Apparently, he was right behind me. I realized afterwards. It just said to security, I'm like, just so you know, this isn't going to be good. He didn't kick the guy out. We're in the middle of a fight. I'm just saying this isn't going to be good. Well, maybe in my head, I'm like, I'm about to do something here, so watch out. And thankfully, I looked and Jimmy was right there. I'm like,
I can't speak for Chris, but I planned 2 or 3 moves ahead before it even happened. So I'd thought of escape plans, also attack plans. Nothing was going to happen.
No, I mean, and I said right after that whole situation that I had already had the plan. I'm not relying on anybody, and nobody was relying on me as far as getting anywhere. Like, I was nobody's ride. Mm-hmm. So I was just going to put my sweatshirt on, stand up, turn around, bash his fucking skull in, and walk right out the door. And nobody would have done shit. They wouldn't even have known it happened. See you guys. You know, but thank God that didn't happen, because I was, you know, like I said, I would have put up with his shit all night long, because, you know, first of all, not getting into physical altercations at fucking wrestling shows. Explain that to my wife when I get home.
I was telling the story to Tina. I was like, it was ridiculous. Nothing was going to happen, but I'd already established that I was going to double gable grip the guy and then just drive his face into the top of my head as quick as possible and just walk away. Walk up to the concourse, let them deal with the mess, and then I'll
that's it.
I didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything.
Gloat over him.
Yeah. See, my move was big Ford Fusion car key right between 2 knuckles and just.
I'm not killing anybody. I mean, I might kill somebody, but it's not
right into the cheek
on purpose. Anyway,
but I got a new one from Chris, which I didn't think about, and so sorry, not to change the subject, or to stay on this subject, but one of my favorite kinds of YouTube videos is stadium fight videos. Because the guy on the lower ground, which we were in this situation, almost never wins. It's very different. It's so easy to look like an idiot getting dumped, because those seats are designed that they're right in the middle of your calf, and it's the perfect spot for you to tip backwards. Chris had a move that you never see in those videos. I said, what would you have done if we got in that fight? He's like, I grab him by the back of the head. As simple as it is, you never see that on YouTube. So if I could spread one word of advice to any of our listeners, if you ever get in that spot, I think that's the move, is the back of the head.
So if you're lower than him, he has to do what to get you? He's got to lean over.
Yeah. All his momentum's going forward.
Well, it's not. It's just weight. He can't once you start pulling down, there's no. What's he going to do?
Lessons on beating people up in the
and there's no and there's no space. There's no space to base out, to get your feet nice and wide. You got nowhere to go, man. You're getting pulled right down. Yeah. And then I would have pulled him into the aisle, and I would have hit him with this, and I would have got him with that's what I was saying to Brandon. I would have pulled him down here, and I would have been like this, couple forearms to the back, giving him a DDT, like Mox, and I would have stormed out. That would have been the end.
Been doing Kawada kicks, and they wouldn't have worked because it's not real.
Yes.
I'm just like, I don't get in fights. Just like bang, bang. Here's a card key. That should be shocking enough for you to not swing back.
So I discussed this with my wife, okay, and I told her how it was like dramatic and it was silly and everything like that, but it got better because
it's very silly,
very silly. The guy left, and she pointed out, she was like, "See, the problem is that," and I explained to her, I was like, "A lot of times I go to wrestling, it's really fun." When we went and saw New Japan in America, when Chris got the towel, the Tanahashi sweat towel, that was so much fucking fun.
It's actually in a drawer glowing right now. You can see the glow coming through the cracks.
Glow behind you in your toy box.
Mm-hmm. It's Tanahashi's sweat.
That was so much fun. And some of those early ECW shows, although weird because it was South Philly, like fucking troglodytes, but it was still fun. And I've gone to Raw and it was fun. I've gone to Raw and it sucked. NXT, I've gone, it's been fun. It's gone and it sucked. The problem is that, and Tina pointed out, or sorry, my wife pointed out, I gave away her name. I've done it before, but it doesn't matter.
A bunch of times.
Yeah. The problem is that AEW is becoming popular. And now weird people are coming to shows. And I don't want to gatekeep. Make money. Have more people in the show, the more fun it is. But it's less niche now. Now you're getting people paying $100 a ticket because that's how much it costs with service charge just to be fucking trolls. just to shit on everything, to shit on the town you're in, to moan and complain that it's a women's match, even though it's like, if anybody's been watching AEW, it's one of the only matches that were on that stupid mid-ass card that you were actually excited about. And I have this turd talk about like weird Asian shit. And come on.
Yeah. I was going to say this to you. So you buy a ticket, you go to a show, and your plan is that didn't happen naturally.
No.
That was this is what I'm going to do. And when I go to the show is I'm going to rag on everything, and I'm going to yell stuff, and I'm going to be obnoxious, and I'm going to annoy everybody around me. But when somebody says something to me, I'm going to know I don't understand what I did wrong.
I'm just trying to have fun. At whose
your
expense?
plan was to have fun at the expense of others. That's what your plan was. Did you think and here's the other thing. When you're yelling shit at any event and nobody around you is laughing,
then you fail.
In the comedy world, that's called bombing. Your jokes aren't funny. You need to stop. You're being a hack.
Well, I did tell him tell the guy when he dropped his phone, he was looking for his phone. And he's like, "Oh, I'm just looking for my phone. Where's my phone?" I was like, "I don't fucking give a shit. Probably down there with your sense of humor because your Joes fucking stink." And he was like, at one point when he was arguing, "Well, sense of humor, I was like, "Gotcha, cuz that hurt your feelings."
He also, I had no respect for this human being to begin with, but if I did, all of it was lost when Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida were in the ring. And he was yelling out WWE women's names. And he said Charlotte. And he said, Feel the Glow. He yelled that. And then he looked at his buddy. I don't know who he looked at. I couldn't see him.
By the way, his buddy was literally 12 years old. He was there with a
he
kid.
looked like a child, right?
That was the only person laughing, was like a small child.
He turned to whoever and he went, "Ew, what are some more WWE women's names?"
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I heard him say that. And I was like, dude, so like I said, poor planning, man. Like you don't even know what's going on. And listen, go to wrestling and scream and holler. But there is a fucking announcement before the show. Don't be a piece of shit. Don't say racist or sexist. Don't be a dick. And you're being a dick. And then you're wondering. So
I forgot about this, and I thought about it when we were, coming close to recording today. It was like, I saw a video, I don't know if it was like 6 to 8 months ago. Apparently there's a guy that goes to WWE shows and he sits like fifth row. He's a big YouTube guy. He sits like really close to the stage or really close to the ring, and he just moans during women's matches and records himself moaning. Bathroom break. And you're just like, okay, you're paying $100 in our section.
That's
This
a dime.
motherfucker's paying $1,000 to sit fucking ringside to go complain to get YouTube hits. What is going on? What the fuck are we doing?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like
signing off.
Quite literally the lowest level of human being that you can think of. It's like somebody had a fucking kid that they loved, and that's who that. Like some mother is out there and it's like, my son spends $1,000 a week so that he can be a sexist scumbag at a wrestling show. And if it's, I'm not I'm not a huge women's wrestling advocate. I just want to watch good wrestling. I try to not focus on whether it's a women's match or a men's match intentionally. And what really got me with this guy was that we had been there for probably 80 minutes at that point, and it was not very high quality stuff for the majority of it. And then all of a sudden, the talent level escalated, and it was Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida, and it's like my mind immediately was stimulated. I'm like, oh, here comes some better wrestling. And then right at that point, for him to be like, this sucks, it was enough to just be like, you're not fucking looking at what's happening in front of your eyes, even at the lowest level of comprehension. You just showed up here with that in your head, and that's what you're going to do in front of everybody. So my closing point on this, dude. If you're fucking bombing at a live event, yelling stuff out, I get it. I've been there. I've said jokes that's drunk at a live event. They weren't funny. And then I just shut up. Yeah. Then just shut up.
I knew I screwed up and I was like,
I'm embarrassed. I can probably still remember them to this day because I was so embarrassed. You get one.
I was drunk at a live event and I called Carl Dykehouse a skating R word. I'm not going to say it again. And it was this stupid. Like as soon as I said it, I was like, "What am I doing?" No one laughed.
Yeah.
What am I doing? What am I doing with my life?
Uh,
What am I
That's
deciding?
yeah. They just
Why have I
pack it
decided
up
to take
and
this
enjoy the
path?
show. That's how you should. That's how you should feel
Not
about
excuse.
that.
The
To
reason.
keep
not excuse.
hammering it.
Let's move on.
That's when the problem is.
Anyway, AEW stunk last week. So we're not going to talk about
There's
it.
our podcast for the week.
There you go.
yeah, it did stink. I was they usually, it's a big market in Philly, and when I saw the card, I was like, this card's a dog.
Yeah,
I was really like, this is a dud. Nothing's going on. Yeah,
I mean,
was
John
surprised.
Moxley coming out is still pretty cool live. We got to see John Moxley
And they gave
entrance.
and I did like as soon as it
Amazing.
came out, I kind of knew that they were giving old Utes the win in his hometown, which is cool. I enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty cool. But other than that,
It wasn't great.
We got to hang out. It was fun.
Sammy Guevara like brutally nuked a ladder spot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't watch the TV angle, but live, everyone was like, "Oh, geez." I think.
Yeah.
I saw online he got hurt. Or I'm assuming it's because of that, or if he was actually hurt. But that was probably
I think he went down to AAA and wrestled last weekend.
Okay,
So it wasn't that hurt.
good.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's not hurt. But that was probably one of the most memorable things. Is like, oh boy, maybe we could move on from this era, the TNT belt.
I don't know. Does this sour you? Not the dickhead in the crowd. You're gonna have dickheads in the crowd at every fucking wrestling show. Will you spend more than $25 on a ticket for AEW going forward, Brandon?
Yes, I will definitely again, because we got DMT Jake the Snake.
Oh my God, that's right. Jake the Snake came to the ring in his dad pants, and
this was my favorite part of the night.
Brandon and I were in fucking tears laughing at Jake the Snake's fucking sweatshirt. It was like
I'm so bummed.
It was tripped. It was like tripped out, but it was full DMT trip out. Like everything was pulsating from the from the middle, and it was earth tones. Yeah, that was amazing.
If you
and
look
Brandon
up,
and I, Brandon, go ahead. I'm sorry, Brandon.
Sorry, just real quick. If you look up Alex Grey, Grey, that's what it is. It's like this hyper intense art that it's like DMT invoked stuff. That's couldn't be any less fashionable. It's like this insane fucking image of like a mother giving birth to a child or something. You can see all of their veins. That's like what Jake the Snake comes out to the ring. It's like he clearly blasted off on DMT and he was like, "This is now my personality." He ordered something on the internet and showed up to AEW Dynamite at 60-something years old wearing Lee jeans and a DMT hoodie, and that was enough to like at least there was like that one memorable, completely unexpected moment of holy shit! I wouldn't in a million years have bet that Jake the Snake would come DMT'd out to their
Dude. So okay, we were just talking about Tool. Look up.
Yes, it's the Tool art guy.
Tool Lateralis's album cover. And you'll have a kind of an idea of what we were going at. If you can remember it on the top of your head, it's like everything vibrating from the center.
It's like if you took this horrific art and then wrapped it into a $25 hoodie. That's what Jake the Snake is now enforcing for Lance Archer wearing.
Oh my God. It was good stuff. I had a good time. Anything else you want to talk about?
I think we covered it
on AEW. All right. I'm trying to quickly download the Lateralis album cover. That's my background, but I'm not having.
I could do 20 minutes on Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake's fucking DMT. Yeah, let's do it. So our theory is that Jake the Snake's had such a fucking horrible. We were talking about it. He's had such a there he is. He's had such a horrible time with his addictions. So he goes down to the camp. He goes down and sees DDP. DDP's like, "Yeah, try out some yoga." I don't know who DDP sounds like. I guess he sounds like that. He's a Jersey guy, so he's like, "Yeah, you gotta try out some yoga."
Yeah, he is.
And he's like, "Oh, yoga. It's not really working for me, brother. It's not really working." He's like, "I got something else for you. Just hit a little bit of this. You like drugs? This will open your mind, free your mind." And he hits it, and then, boom, DDT man. The DDT man is a DMT man.
The DMT man.
What do you think?
I think that's exactly what happened. He went DDP, hooked him up.
I don't think we're doing DDP a disservice by saying he's giving anybody DMT.
The DDT DMT.
That dude ain't giving anybody DMT.
Who he would have got?
It just doesn't, because it just doesn't fit his personality at all. I mean, it doesn't at all fit his personality. I'm just saying, his character would never do that. I'm just saying. I mean, I think it's funny, but I think like maybe it was Scott Hall when Scott Hall went to the accountability crib.
No.
And he's like, maybe it was Ric Flair.
This is
maybe Ric Flair. Maybe
you're going alcoholics. This is the exact opposite.
Oh no,
This is like woke. This is like
yeah, no. Maybe
this is like Rob Van Dam style.
Okay, then maybe he got it from Rob Van Dam.
There we go.
Maybe you got. I'm telling you.
Like,
there I am.
That's it.
As someone who's done that drug, and I shouldn't say this on this podcast, but as someone who's done it, it's like when you have a computer that's broken, you just push the power button and it just completely powers off, and you get that blue screen back on. Mm-hmm. It's like we're back to the base layer.
I'm all DMT.
It's one of the worst things that I've done. I didn't have any fun with it at all, but it's so funny to imagine Jake the Snake getting like hard rebooted and then coming back as like a
listening to your story of doing the DMT. Any listeners out there? I'm sorry. It's one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
I love it. It made me want to go do it immediately.
I have not that much trauma, and I thought I shit my pants. Imagining a 60-year-old wrestler just hitting hard reboot and go live it all from being an infant back in 5 minutes. Come back into life.
I have no idea. I have no desire to touch it. I want my pain. I need my pain.
Yes.
The DMT going to tell me to turn right? I should have turned right when I turned left.
Have we talked about
DMT way too much at this point?
The AEW New Japan show?
I thought it was funny.
No.
Okay, so AEW and New Japan announced last week, 2 weeks ago, they're going to have a joint show end of June. So New Japan's Wrestling Dontaku happened over the weekend, or actually last Thursday. And a couple of interesting things happened. Very good match between Tanahashi and Ishii. And a certain man named Juice Robinson showed up. Now, listeners, I don't know if you've probably not been paying attention to New Japan, but Juice Robinson is one of these guys. He's one of these few guys. John Moxley was this way for a while there, and so was Bryan Danielson. They didn't use social media. Juice Robinson doesn't even have social media. So he did an interview with, I don't know, Toast Sports or some Japanese website where he basically said, like, yeah, my contract is up and I'm not going to re-sign with New Japan. Boom. That was it. Everybody just assumed that was true. Well, he showed up and he attacks Tanahashi after he wins the U.S. title. And a shock to everyone. And the Japanese fans, whoa, they were actually stoked for it. Juice Robinson has re-signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he is now part of the Bullet Club. Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows have returned to the Bullet Club in New Japan. Carl Anderson is challenging for the Never Open Weight Championship against Tama Tonga. And in the main event, Kazuchika Okada versus Naito. Very good match, exciting match, fun match. Every single time they have a match. We've seen it a million fucking times, though, this year. I think we've seen it 5 times this year since January 4th. Jay White is back, and he attacks fucking Okada. We're getting a Bullet Club heavy scene coming into this, probably going into June. I'm assuming that New Japan says, oh, we're going to the United States. They love the Bullet Club. We'll just throw a bunch of Bullet Club shit at them. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, a lot of information to cover there. I'll start by saying I was always a quiet fan of Juice Robinson.
Yes.
When I started watching New Japan, at this point, it's probably 5 years ago. I appreciate the fact that he was kind of like under the hood of pro wrestling, learning how to become a better wrestler, having great matches, and not trying to be what a lot of the American wrestlers were on WWE at the time, because that was the big show. He had a great match with John Moxley. He was kind of rewarded. I was disappointed to see him sort of disappear from the scene. So happy to see that. And then all of a sudden you get all of the Bullet Club information, which I couldn't be any less excited about. And I think we've all had our cup has been filled 10 times over with Gallows and Anderson content. So fuck that. And I won't be going to any New Japan America shows if they're there. Especially as like major entertainment.
So, a couple things I noticed on this show.
Chris, did you watch the entire show?
No, I just watched the Tana Ishii and the main event.
The Tana Ishii. If you're going to listeners, if you want to watch anything from New Japan, go check that out. Also, this Thursday on AXS or Access, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the New Japan Cup final is on Access. So you're getting Okada versus Zack Sabre Jr., which I said is one of the better matches of the year. Go check that out if you get it to access. Go check it out this Thursday. Go ahead, Chris.
So yeah, I watched these matches, and there was a couple things to notice. Number one, two of the best. I think two of the best people at selling in professional wrestling right now in Tanahashi and Ishii, especially with Ishii being a no-sell guy. Very few people sell better than him. I love when they go into Tana doing Healy shit.
Fuck yes.
He gives him the dragon screw so many times and it's usually with the dragon screw because it's so nasty looking, but he gives him that dragon screw leg whip so many times that the fans, and I've seen it happen multiple times with Tanahashi, where the fans will start to turn on him.
They start booing.
They start booing him because he's not being a good guy. Mm-hmm. I always like that. It always reminds me of the time when he beat AJ Styles in the G1, I think it was, and he rolled over and AJ Styles looked at AJ Styles and gave him the middle finger.
Yep.
That was always one of my favorite things with Tanahashi. But just the way that Tanahashi, you watch this guy, just the way he hits the turnbuckles when he gets thrown into the corner. I mean, he's just so fucking good. And so good that he can still go at a high level. And I noticed it even more now than I ever noticed it before with that level of that lack of mobility in the hips that he's had for a while, but it's getting more noticeably worse, which won't fucking matter. Right. Because he's so good at what he does that he can work around it. It reminds me, Matt Hardy has much bigger problems in his hips that it kind of takes away from it, but he compensates for that by being fucking brilliant in the ring and saying and doing weird shit that makes you laugh at it. And he knows, I think, that he kind of looks kind of weird now. So let's just roll into it. But the other thing I noticed, I think we've all known it for a while, but in the main event of that card, first of all, Okada in the Inoki gear, which he's been wearing for a while. This isn't new. It just didn't dawn on me until I saw it today. I watched it. It didn't dawn on me how fucking he looks special. Yes, he looks like a fucking professional wrestler should look, and not in WWE. Like he looks like you would look if it was actually real.
Yes.
Right? He looks like a real champion that's bigger than everybody else would look, you think about it. I mean, I'm just cut you off real quick. Yeah, it's fine.
To solidify your point, guys from the old days of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So Inoki, obviously, Tatsumi Fujinami, Riki Choshu, Tenryu. These guys have very simple looks. Black trunks, usually black. Well, I think Tenryu had gold, but black shoes. They would wear like Riki Choshu had a towel around his neck. Inoki wore the big robe. Tenryu would wear the gold and black, but they would come to the ring and they would look a specific way, and there was no way that you looked at them and didn't think that they were serious fucking business. They weren't. It was all wrestling. They looked like the real deal. And Okada looks the same way. Serious business. He's a little flashier. He's got the bleach blonde hair. He's got the movie star good looks. But when he comes to the ring, you're like, this guy is the tops. Go ahead.
Yeah. It almost looks like he has that indifference about him, which he's always had, where it's kind of like, I'm here for business. And you mistakenly said Tanahashi's name, but you look at a guy like Tanahashi who came out in that with the boa outfit on, with the feathers on it. But even with his loud ass fucking gear, when he gets on the top rope and he puts the number 1 up, it's fucking serious, right? It's serious fucking business. And then you look at same thing with Naito. He comes down with that nonchalant stroll. Lackadaisical, serious business. And the point that I'm getting to with these two, with Okada and Naito, is that over the past, I would say, let's go back to Naito's heel turn, right? Let's go there, because that would probably be the best spot to start. From that heel turn, and then ever since I've ever seen Okada, more so since Okada and Gato have not been together.
Right.
These two guys have done some of the most impeccable, subtle character work. Nobody has done this. There's nobody you can tell me in professional wrestling all over the world who have created and crafted a character that's believable because they act like human beings act. It's subtle. It's not over the top. I would put, at a lesser degree, Zack Sabre Jr. there, and I would put, just because he's a cocky cunt. I mean, and it works. I mean, it's his character. But that's how a guy like that would act, right? I mean, we watch McGregor act like that in real life all the time. And Bryan Danielson, since he's been out of WWE. Now, granted, nobody acts like that in WWE. It's not their thing. That's fine.
That's a different animal.
Totally different animal. I get it. That's fine. But even with him, where it's like he doesn't come out, he smiles at times where you don't think he should be smiling.
You're talking about Okada?
I'm talking about Bryan Danielson.
Right.
You look at him; he smiles at times and laughs at times, and is nice at times where you don't think that guy should be nice.
Or he gets that this is the big, person giant smile that he gets.
Right. That he
especially
gets
when he's challenged.
Right.
It's fucking great.
And it's the subtleties, but that's the one thing I noticed when I was watching that match. Because, like you said, you almost didn't have to watch it because you've seen it.
You've seen the match.
The match so many times.
There's different nuances and different stuff that happened in the match. There were different. Like, every time they put these matches together, because their guys are professionals, they switch it up. It's not always the same fucking thing. In particular, and you mentioned Inoki and all that stuff. At the end, the final stretch, Okada hits Naito with Enziguri, which is an Inoki move. He hits him with that Inoki Enziguri. Okada doesn't use an Enziguri. He did that as a nod to, number one, it's their 50th year of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he is now the top of the heap. He represents New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is doing respect to Inoki and the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And maybe that small little thing, as a professional wrestling fan, you're watching, you're like, if you were to pretend that this is a real story and real fighting, that small little Enziguri is what beat Naito. He wasn't expecting that.
Right.
This made it different than all the rest of the matches. That one fucking move. Yeah, these guys are the fucking real deal, man. And you know what? We don't speak the fucking language.
Right.
We don't get subtitles. We don't get translation. We get Chris Charlton, who's barely mumbling for the translation. You get about fucking 3 lines out of 20 lines that they speak during the show. And we still understand that these guys are the tops. They are the best. We understand their character. You don't need fucking long promos. And they do great promos. Naito, in particular, is spectacular backstage. You don't need it. Because these guys project themselves as the best in the fucking planet. And I stand by it. I think Okada's the best professional wrestler in the world. By far.
When they talk about, like, back in the day, 80s, 90s, even now, WWE, WWF, and they say that the Intercontinental Championship is the workers' title. It's like, that's like, if you're a really good fucking pro wrestler, you have a total package, you got a little bit of everything, and it makes you probably the best guy on the card, but you're not the one that's selling all the tickets. To me, it's almost like the IWGP Championship is that of professional wrestling, especially when one of those guys holds it. And any of the guys that have held it, I mean, even when it was Shingo had it. Serious. Well, yeah, evil, serious business. Seriously evil. But I mean, it's good to see that it's almost back. And to Brandon's point when he was talking about, I'm okay with Carl Anderson. I'm not okay with Doc Gallows.
No,
Doc Gallows is Doc Gallows is a fucking anchor on that guy.
Yep.
He is a fucking anchor, and he drags down Carl Anderson. Because you remember when we first started watching New Japan, Carl Anderson was going to be his guy.
Yeah.
Before they all left.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to be the guy that they wanted to replace. It wasn't going to be Kenny Omega. It was going to be Carl Anderson was going to replace AJ Styles as the big bad foreigner, because Kenny Omega was still coming down to the ring with brooms. And, they left and they went to WWE, and they just, I just think that Carl Anderson, that his head's stuck in. Somebody needs to smack him in the side of the head and say, this is not who you need to be. You could be so much more, because his work rate is out of this world. It always has been.
Let me make a quick, I want to go over to Brandon for a second, but let me make a quick point. With Carl Anderson coming back, Carl Anderson now challenges for the never openweight title against Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga, dojo guy. Carl Anderson, dojo guy. Juice Robinson, dojo guy. I mean, sure, he wrestled in NXT, but he came over and did the dojo system. He's a dojo guy. These are all dojo guys. This all ties together. New Japan is thanking us and bringing people in that we remember from watching for years and years and years. And you might think Carl Anderson, like Chris, he made a good point. He's like, this is because Doc Gallows is just this fucking big dude that does big dude shit. But Carl Anderson's been there since he was wearing the fucking black trunks on the side of the ring. And Carl Anderson is, according to New Japan fans and from New Japan fandom, he's the real fucking deal. And people will be excited and it will sell tickets. Him versus Tama Tonga will sell tickets. I am shocked at how excited New Japan's fan base is about Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa being part of Hantai now, being good guys. I don't know. I say that if you're listening, you should start paying attention to New Japan, because they are back on track and they are fucking rolling again. They're getting some bodies in there, and it's not this. We're not looking at fucking Tomoyaki Hama in the third match anymore, where it's like it's starting to roll around. This whole show had matches that mattered. Brandon, go ahead. Thoughts?
Yeah, going back to the Okada match, I wanted to touch on that point really quickly about the Enziguri and how it tricked him at the end, because he wasn't expecting that. And it's an incredibly simple point. It's not pretending to be anything. It's just because that's real. That's how you actually succeed in any competition. And that's what makes things compelling, is because, well, there was one more move up my sleeve than there was up yours. That happens in real fighting. It happens in sports. It happens in the business world. Oh, where'd the DMT background go? I was enjoying that.
I couldn't take looking at myself.
It's just I only bring it up because it's so frustrating to watch with real wrestling, or with pro wrestling, is because it's so often they refuse to acknowledge that. It's like a point that I've made many times before. But the Carl Anderson thing, I think I understand that in the world of pro wrestling, people aren't going to make the decision that's best for them as a wrestler, and he went and sold Gallows and Anderson. He probably looked at his path in New Japan and was like, okay, I would rather go collect some money from Vince and bounce around, go home with my family. That's fine. If he wants to actually now go and see what would have happened a little bit had he been a solo wrestler, and we're not going to get Gallows and Anderson here, yeah, that makes it a little bit more compelling to me. But I think the guy was pretty clearly a sellout. That's the proper term for it. So, and that's okay. Sure. I don't blame him. I might have done the same thing. I don't want to get dumped in my fucking head to prove something.
If he hadn't left on good terms, he wouldn't be back. That's for sure. New Japan and Japanese wrestling in particular, very corny. They don't forget very easily. So
people don't forget.
So I'm a little concerned about the. I think we'll wrap it up after these. We'll just talk about these points. But let's talk about the WWE releases after this. But I think when it comes down to the New Japan show, New Japan AEW show, I wouldn't be too excited for like dream matches. I don't think we're getting them in this first one. I think we might get a couple of them. I think we're going to get a lot of 6-man matches, 6 and 8-man matches. Might get the Elite versus, I don't know, Chaos. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what's going to happen. I wouldn't be too excited about it. You're not getting Okada versus fucking Kenny Omega. You're not getting it in the first show. Sorry. And even Obari and the president of New Japan and Tony Khan were like, we're not giving you everything right away. Like, that's just not the way this works. We're going to give you a few matches, and then we're going to do it because, you know, if everything works out the way it is and the way the world is right now, we're going to have a couple of shows. So, Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're right. It doesn't mean that much to me whether they do or not. I'm more interested in the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Rewind. If we talked about this before, but you rewind a couple weeks and you guys were in absolute denial that this could go the way that it immediately has gone. So
yeah, that's true. Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just hoping we don't get, you know, I mean, look, even if we do get New Japan match, AEW match, New Japan match, AEW match,
we could get that.
That's fine. That's fine too. I just, you know, I'm happy to see.
I'm thinking more like New Japan Noah show.
Yeah.
Where they bounce back and forth, and then you get a match, and you're just like, well, this one's got Lee Moriarty in, so I know which team's losing. This one's got Bushi.
They're not going to sell out the United Center and have you like a Lee Moriarty. Like there's going to be something.
Just those tickets go on sale. They don't even have to announce a fucking show.
No, they're not. They're going to be sold out.
Selling out immediately. Whatever Alfred, whatever his name is from
Lord Alfred Hayes.
Lord Alfred Hayes from what's he writing for? Forbes or some shit. Whatever he says. This shit is selling out. They sold out on the hope that CM Punk was showing up.
I'm not saying that they need to have a match to sell out the United Center, but they wouldn't sell out the United Center and then run a bunch of tag matches. There will be. I think you're right. But there's going to be something at the top that will be interesting.
Oh yeah.
The weird thing you get is that AEW. Well, AEW. Okay, real quick. AEW has announced that some of their talent will be in New Japan Best of Super Juniors, which we had mentioned before. That I think we thought that would happen. Wheeler Yuta is going to be in it. Is there any other AEW guys?
Keep talking.
Dante Martin, maybe? No, Wheeler Yuta is definitely in it. But Wheeler Yuta was working with New Japan Strong anyway, so that makes sense. There's a couple of guys. Teton's going to be there. Big fan of Teton. So we're gonna have some wrestlers going back and forth, which is promising. But I'm telling you, it's
by saying that they're not going to do the big thing, they're also telling you what they're going to do. So it's going to be like, what's this like light tease match that will appease everybody as a main event, but not be the main event?
I think it would be Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi tag up against. I think they'll save that. I mean, they might save that actually, but I think we're going to get a situation where you might have a tag match between some guys. We're not getting title matches. We're not getting one-on-one fucking exhibitions, I don't think. We might get Jericho versus somebody big in New Japan just for Jericho to lay down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that might be one of the co-main events where it's Jericho versus...
Because they're running out of time.
Who's barking with them online right now? It's not Okada, right? Has he done Okada?
What did Kenta CM Punk? Would they do that?
Kenta's still hurt. He's saying he wants to go with CM Punk. I don't think so. I think CM Punk's protected at this point. Well, Kenta doesn't mind lying down. Kenta CM Punk might be pretty good. See, Kenta will definitely eat a fucking go to sleep.
Yeah, he would eat that. Go ahead. Sorry, Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
I'm going to go off topic here real quick. You just reminded something. I want to hit a point. Rewinding it to
I'll go pee.
A real quick rewind to AEW because you just brought up Jericho. It was good to get to see a moment of Jericho brilliance during that AEW show when Eddie Kingston was in his face and he kept leaning back in the chair. I mean, with the big. So I just wanted that because you do all and it shows how good. Like, we love to talk shit. It's whatever, but it shows how good that fucking dude is. That's all he has to do. All he's got to do is one fucking thing, and then all of a sudden you're like, that's why that man's a genius. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think one thing that may go underappreciated with him in AEW is some of these guys, frankly, just aren't that good. So to see Eddie Kingston perform, like, in order for Jericho to look good, his combatant also has to look good.
Yeah, he's got to be good on the mic.
Eddie Kingston smashed that. So Eddie Kingston, not pushing him, but Eddie Kingston returning serve there just made Chris Jericho's little shit work so much better.
Yeah, he plays such a swarmy heel so well. So I'm not seeing any straight up so it's AEW. The only person I'm seeing is Wheeler Yuta and Alex Zane, who I don't even know who that is.
Alex Zane.
Yeah, Alex Zane.
I don't know who.
I don't know who that is either. Let's Alex Zane. Let's look him up.
So maybe it's just Yuta then is going.
No, he's on there.
I mean, but even if Alex Zane is going over, who gives a fuck? That doesn't actually count.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm just trying to see. It doesn't say. Yeah, he's not part of AEW. It doesn't say that he's part of AEW here.
I think we'll get. I guess what I'm most curious
He's got
about.
Purple hair.
What I'm most curious about though is what this like main event. There's going to be some big AEW versus New Japan singles match, right? So, do you have any thoughts on who that would be, Chris?
Well, like Jimmy said, I think I think you're getting a Jericho in there.
That's who I think the most obvious.
That's probably going to be one. I would assume that your other big. Who are your other big dogs in AEW? Well, you have Danielson and you have Mox. But that's right for a 6-man, right? You're happy with a 6-man against 3 dudes from New Japan because you got a crew there. So you're not going to split that up. You get all those dudes in there.
Versus Suzuki Gun. That's what I want.
Suzuki Gun. Yeah, that's
because
probably what it would
go
be.
Nuts as soon as they know that you're going to get Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. in one ring. That's
it right there.
Nuts for that shit.
So you would have. So what would you like? I'm thinking like you get the Blackpool Combat Club versus
Suzuki.
Yeah, so I'm thinking Minoru Suzuki, Zack Sabre Jr. Okay. No, not Minoru.
How about this?
Minoru?
Well, somebody's got to lay down. So, no, I think you're going to get
Tai Chi.
No, well, you will get Tai Chi. You'll get Mox, Daniel Bryan, and Wheeler Yuta versus Zack Sabre Jr., Tai Chi, and El Desperado. And Wheeler Yuta.
Yes.
I think that's what you're going to do. Because AEW doesn't have a juniors division. So juniors are going to be mixed in here too.
Yes.
And I think if you think about who Jericho being corny as shit and wanting to sell tickets, Jericho Suzuki, I think it's a separate match. I think Jericho Suzuki would be like near the top of the. If you guys already said that, sorry, I was going pee-pee. My wife's dyeing her hair, so I got in the middle of the whole fucking thing. But anyway.
No, what I was saying is that back to what you were, it's the same thing. Jericho, he's primed for being a top name, top of the card guy in AEW to go out there and wrestle somebody near the top of the card in New Japan. So he's
Suzuki lays down for everybody. He's also, he lays down in fucking New Japan as well. But for an American show, for a show in Chicago, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Where they can just play this whole like talking shit thing for a while where Jericho just talks trash and that'd be a pretty good one.
And also
I think they go bigger name there only because they've had Suzuki on AEW a couple of times and they've had him drop to guys and had it come off as sort of meaningless for that to be their big singles match.
I think if Jericho's good at building this shit, I don't know. Who else would he wrestle? He might want to wrestle.
I don't know. Shingo? Like, who does he want to wrestle? That would be the answer.
Yeah, but Shingo, I don't know if Shingo really works into it like that. I think I could see Naito is getting eye surgery again. What's that?
I'm laughing. The nerdiest thing that we do is when we like fantasy book these fucking shit.
So what? Naito's going to end up like fucking, what's his name?
But
you don't know who this is, but he's going to end up like fucking Michael Bisping with the one eye.
He's going to end up like fucking HBK. Wonky eyed.
That dude will just wear an eye patch and it'll look even fucking cooler than he does right now.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
He's just a sexy.
I missed
boy.
everything. Sorry, I was going.
Oh, I will tell you this. All right,
Yes.
now that you said it, this is back because we were talking about this a little bit, off on a different topic. Can we go off on a different topic?
Of course.
No.
Well, I'm just saying,
of course.
have we covered this New Japan? You got anything else?
Yeah, I
you
don't
want
want
to
to
say?
talk anymore about it anyway.
All right. So,
Brandon is right. When you start fantasy booking, you just sound like a bunch of fucking dorks.
It just
Yeah.
sounds so autistic.
So,
It's like,
so we.
what if?
What are we doing with our lives?
So we. I told you guys the other day that there's a program on USA. It airs after Raw, and it's called WWE Evil, and they're shitty hour-long time waster docs about heels, about certain heels. All right, this is going somewhere. Let's see the connection. So I was like, oh, what's this? Well, you know me, I can't stay up till 11 o'clock to watch this shit. Right? So I went on Peacock and it was on there. All the episodes are on there. So I put the Hollywood Hulk Hogan one on. We couldn't find anything to watch. So I put the Hollywood Hulk Hogan one on. And who comes on but Shawn Michaels?
Okay.
And my wife looks at the TV and she goes, oh my God, cocaine. Like, what the fuck happened to him? And he was on there like he's just like, I'm glad he looks like that because he's a dick.
Jesus saved me.
Oh, yeah, I was a dickhead to everybody, but Jesus, he came down from heaven and he saved me. Fuck that. He's another one. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I was never a fan of that.
It has
dude.
nothing to do with any of this. Buddy Murphy is dating Rhea Ripley. Props to Buddy Murphy. Congratulations,
Good
buddy.
for him.
Respect.
Wasn't he with Alexa Bliss or was the other guy?
Yeah, it
with
was a
Alexa
while ago.
Bliss? Yeah, it was him.
She married a singer.
Good for her. Probably
Some
country singer.
band? No, that wasn't country. It's something like pop punk type thing.
You reminded me of it, Chris.
Avril Lavigne went to the.
Jimmy sent us. He was like, "Oh my God, this Ric Flair rant we did last week was ridiculous. Listen back to it," and I did.
Dude.
And one of the funniest things was Chris at the beginning of it. He's like, "I don't believe in karma or any mysticism." And I was thinking, like, because I was thinking of Shawn Michaels, like, yeah, I'm not saying it's karma or mysticism, but yeah, the biggest, like, this, it's just a great way to put it.
Oh my God.
I don't believe in mysticism, but
listeners, I have to listen back to this mostly because I want to hear the quality. I want to hear what's wrong, everything like that, whatever. Usually I listen to it right away. This episode we recorded 2 weeks ago. Last week's episode we recorded 2 weeks ago. And I was just ran out of things to listen to. So I was like, all right, let me bang it out real quick. It was only like an hour. I was listening to an hour. And man, I'm driving my car to Target and I was in fucking tears. I had to pull over at one point. It made no fucking sense. At one point, Chris is just fucking screaming in Ric Flair voice, but it's not really Ric Flair voice. It's like Ric Flair underwater with a pillow over his face. It was like,
that's right. That's what.
it's completely overriding his mic.
Who is listening to this? Why are you listening to this?
Listen. Let me tell you something. When you do an impersonation, it's not good until you go completely over the fucking edge.
No, that's true.
I mean, I've lost my mind when it comes to Ric Flair. I mean, first of all, we already have him falling from the rafters.
Yes.
Why? And then when he hits the ground, he just, yeah.
He dies.
But he dies.
Like Owen
you know.
He doesn't just die. It's his whole torso
compresses
collapses
like a
in his
sling.
head.
And then it's just head on the ground like, oh, this isn't bad. Woo! I can see up her skirt. Woo! No, I can see up her skirt. Woo!
He starts crab walking away immediately.
Look, I
Crab walking with his arms. Like,
I told you, I think for me, the downfall of that dude, like when it really started making the left turn, because I wasn't watching wrestling at this time, but the downfall, like where it was like, oh my God, what happened, was the Edge and Lita sex show.
It was before that for me.
No, I mean when it was really like
him fucking doing elbows to his
Remind
jacket.
me of
yeah, but that was like
his role in the Edge and Lita sex show.
He just comes down.
Explain everything.
All right, so
You've
Edge
gone
and
through
Lita,
this. You've screamed it a million times.
Edge and
Almost
Lita,
every week. Explain play by play exactly what happened.
Edge and Lita are having their live sex show in the ring on a Monday Night Raw, right?
Fucking.
They fucking. They in the ring, they fucking. Under the blankets.
I was like, yeah, Lita's gonna be naked. I tuned it.
And then out of nowhere, because he's the dude that loves sex.
He likes boning.
Yeah, Ric Flair's just like, I'm getting in on this, woo, woo, and he's doing the back and forth thing, woo, 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 for no fucking reason.
Slapping.
But the other one,
Rick.
That's it, right? He just comes to the ring.
That's it. He just comes to the ring and does a little dance, and then he leaves. But the one...
He's the real hedonism, Rick. What is it?
He's Hedo Rick. Well, Hedo Rick's dead. Hedo Rick's ghost is probably... Like Ric Flair's this is what I think happened.
You think Ric Flair... Christ?
Ric Flair...
HBK, and then he was possessed by Hedo Rick's ghost?
Ric Flair was in the hospital dying. Hedo Rick was dying. Their spirits linked up. And they said, listen, your body's gone, but my body can be saved. We both inhabit my body of Ric Flair.
Can be saved.
I was an extreme athlete. Woo! And then we can woo, and then woo, and now he is truly Hedo Rick. And the crack in his skull.
Ric Flair.
And
Ric Flair's like a Dracula. Ric Flair's like a Dracula that just lives off of other dead pedophilic Ricks. When they die, they get his.
Oh God!
A Dracula pops me every time. Man.
A Dracula.
One of those Draculas. Good stuff. Anything else you want to talk about?
I think we covered everything. WWE releases. You want to burn through them real quick?
Let's talk about them real quick. Dakota Kai and Malcolm Bivens. That's the only ones I care. There you go.
It's upset. I like that they put all that time into Diamond Mine.
Yep. And then they just fired everybody but Roddy Strong. Now Roddy Strong's just like, I went out. And they're like, nope.
They just won't work. I'll do that. Where I'll just be like, all right, fine. Take me off TV.
I don't know. Fucking
So
WWE is basically committed to, they're getting rid of everybody. That is not a clean slate.
Yeah, it's Vince time now. It's back to Vince time where it's something I created.
So we got Nikita Lyons with a giant ass versus some other lady with a giant ass. Did you catch any clips of this match, Brandon?
No.
So apparently they had a great match. You got to check it out. So they had another one. And they're talking in the ring. They're flopping all over. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They threw them together without a plan, and all of a sudden they're flopping all over the place.
Yeah, because they have no fucking experience and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. You sent.
Go ahead, Chris.
Sorry, you sent a text out with a bunch of new names that they had copyrighted.
Yeah. No.
And one of the
copyrighted when
WWE had copyrighted. They applied for copyrights for a bunch of names.
When?
One of them was like a week or two ago, and one of them was something Katana.
Oh, right. That's what's her name?
It's Casey Catanzaro. We just assumed it was going to be Io Shirai.
We assumed it was racist.
Yeah.
Io Shirai apparently broke her foot.
Io Shirai's on her way out, I think. No, I don't know. They
her fiance's still in Japan, so she might split skis. I don't know.
They cut a bunch of people. I think the one my only thought on this, Dakota Kai, that sucks. Malcolm Bivens, unfortunate circumstance. I'm okay with NXT if it's just going to be consistent. Hey, what do you have to offer? And if not, you're dropped.
You're gone.
Because what you hear a lot of people that could have been good are cut from NXT. What you never hear from these people is, well, here was a really great idea I had for a character that was going to go over, and they stopped me from doing it. A lot of these people show up and they're like, I'm going to do something. I don't know what it's going to be. They get pushed down the Vince tunnel, and then they flame out.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily people that are like, well, I was going to dominate, and then something else happened. It's like, well, if you do show up and maybe you do have a fully baked idea, you can get through. And if it's just that prospect system show, maybe it'll work.
I was a big fan of Dakota Kai, and I still am a big fan of Dakota Kai, and I think she'll do just fine. I mean, for me, these people being released from WWE is like good. Like, if you're not doing it, you're not enjoying yourself, and you want to get the fuck out, and it's not going your way, I mean, just move on. It's just a fucking job, man. There's other options. Just a job. Chris?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, who knows what the fuck's going on over there, but they, you go there. It's almost like I forget who I was listening to. It was a podcast. I was listening to a musician. I don't know who it was, but he was saying like, oh, it was Bob Dylan's kid. No, it was Jacob Dylan. And he was saying that, like, because they were talking about Spotify and how Spotify basically pays them nothing, and
right.
Record companies and all this other shit. And he goes, but the thing is at some point you have to say to yourself that this is not new news. Right. At no point were record companies great, and then all of a sudden they got shitty. You have to kind of go in knowing that this is going to be a rough fucking road. And you're probably not going to get everything or anything you want. So you got to be ready that at any moment this is going to end. And this is where it is with these guys.
We talked about it earlier. We talked about old school hip hop. How many of those guys that were signed before fucking 1994, when hip hop became suddenly marketable to white people, didn't get paid shit?
Nothing.
Only the guys that were on Def Jam, I think, made any money. The rest of them didn't make shit.
Yeah.
Big Daddy Kane, guys like that, they didn't make fucking any money. Schoolie D didn't make any money. Like, these guys didn't make any money.
Oh, I know what Schoolie D did.
Yeah, I just saw Schoolie D fucking
sleazebag
DJing Record Store Day in the Piazza.
I saw him.
But these guys signed record deals, and they were promised, like, here you go. Here's your advance. It ain't that much in the long run. You look at it, like, this is the most money I've ever had in my entire life, and then you blow through it in a month and a half.
It's just been a bunch of these Swerve Stricklands of, like, they got a ton of potential. Well, what are you doing, man? Yeah. There's 8 hours of televised wrestling, and probably another 4 hours of hardcore fans are going onto YouTube or these apps to watch. Do you have anything that's gonna blow well into that 12 hours and force yourself to be on the show, or is it just that you have potential? Because there's a gazillion fuckers that have potential.
I did enjoy Swerve Strickland's crew.
I just don't think that Strickland's going anywhere.
Yeah. He's working the indies. He's working AEW.
I'm not talking about Strickland. I just mean in general these Malcolm Bivens.
It's
like, well, they could have been good. It's like, well, you had a chance.
But Malcolm Bivens also asked for his release. Apparently, they offered him another contract. And he said, I don't want it. He's doing fucking stand up now.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Do the other thing.
Like, yeah.
Well, I
don't really enjoy having to live down in sweaty ass Tampa and occasionally be on TV, like, once a month to do a promo. Otherwise, I'm fucking probably taking bumps as a fucking manager.
Well, the other, back in the day, what would happen is you get all these mid-carders, and then they'd work for you for a few months, and then they go somewhere else and work. And if, I think that we're so... I don't know what's going on with the indie scene. I don't know where these places are. I don't know who goes to indie shows,
dude.
But if there's plenty of shows, but I haven't really been paying attention. I'm sure there
goes
are
to fucking shows like every weekend.
Yeah, and if
he's from Jersey, he lives near you.
Yeah, I know the guy you're talking.
Drives up and down the fucking coast, and he goes to fucking shows. There's shows just outside of Trenton. Miyu Yamashita is wrestling fucking in Trenton.
Yeah,
if I want to go see her, I can go there. I was gonna fly to Portland like a fucking dope to go see her. I could just drive across the fucking bridge, drive fucking an hour, and go see Miyu Yamashita. You can wrestle all over the East Coast. There's all these dumb little fucking...
And there's money to be made.
There is. There's money to be made because people are showing up because people like wrestling.
Yeah.
Unless it's CZW. Then I don't like it. There you go. Final thoughts, Brandon? Anything we missed?
No, you guys are going to Weyerbacher?
Oh, we are. We're going next Friday. We're taking a cruise up to...
Oh, it's not this
Friday. Easton, PA? Good old Easton?
Is it this Friday or next Friday?
It's this Friday.
This Friday.
This Friday, Chris. I texted you.
No, I know. He said next Friday, and I thought it was next Friday.
You
this
said
Friday. I knew it was this Friday. I got scared.
You said it.
Sorry.
You said it. Friday?
If I did, I'll listen to it back. So
Woo! Is it this Friday?
Yeah, this Friday, the 6th, May
Yeah.
6th. Yeah, we'll be at Weyerbacher Brewing. We're going to go see some wrestling.
And they only serve vegan food.
We're going to fucking Yakos and Tops and eating some hot dogs.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Seriously, is it only vegan food?
No, I think vegan's the option.
Or they
It's
have
advertised.
like
Hey, we have vegan food.
Don't bother coming because you ain't gonna have shit to eat, boy.
Make sure you bring your Vax card, Chris.
You need a Vax card up there?
Yeah, you do.
Why?
Because they're not letting anybody in without one.
Well, I haven't been vaccinated since last year.
What does that mean?
I am not boosted.
Do you have a Vax card?
Yes, it's on my phone.
And you can sit in the car if we get up there.
Did you get rid of that third ticket?
Yeah, I did. Chris is not vaccinated with his third shot. You might have to take the ticket, Brandon, if you're down.
I have Phillies tickets. We're supposed to go, but there's a chance at 3 p.m. on Friday I end up just driving up.
Up where?
Iston.
Oh, it's sold out, dude. Like legit sold out.
Yeah, right.
That's what they're saying. He keeps saying they're sold the fuck out.
Well, I'll take Chris's ticket.
Okay. All right, yeah, we're going up there. If you guys are going up there, anybody listeners are going up to Weyerbacher Brewing, I'll be there. I'll wear pink so you can see me. I'll have a pink T-shirt on. Everybody else will have black on. I'll wear pink. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, Chris?
Nah, I'm out.
Brandon?
Now I'm good. Bye now.
Thanks for joining us this week and joining us here every week. Wrestling is hard. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at hard4wrestling. Subscribe and follow. Tell your friends. And for Brandon and Chris, I am Jim, and we will be back here next week.